All right. Good morning, people of YouTube. So, continuing our trend of decks that were pretty good in BT9 but get a lot better in BT10, this time we have GrandisKuwagamon. So, GrandisKuwagamon is a deck that got a lot of tops in the BT10 meta in Japan, whereas it was a little bit underwhelming in the BT9 format in North America. So, this is a deck that with just one common addition, we get the Kokuamon in BT10. But just that card allows Cool Boy to be more consistent in this deck. So I think this deck has a lot better consistency going into this next set. Um, but also, I feel like it just has a better matchup into some of the decks that are going to be good, as opposed to the decks that were good in BT9. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into the card by card and a couple other cards that you can play. As well. So if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you guys like and subscribe. And without further ado, here are the Digitama. So I'm only playing four. I have four copies of the Yokomon from BT5, the Wind Digibursted plus 2000. If you're not playing Mimi, which I'm not, I'm playing Davis as my memory setter because it's more consistent in a deck like this. Yokomon will be by far the best egg, and your stacks are much worse without it. But if you are playing Mimi, then you should play the fifth egg. And I think Modimon from BT9 is a good pick. I haven't really looked at the egg from BT10, but I know Yokomon is far and away the best option. So going into the level 3s, we have one of the best cards in the deck. We have Kokuamon X Antibody. It's a great searcher. You had it typically on play for the BT9 meta. It can trigger when Digivolving as well. However, the only Kokuamon that we had access to was the one cost to evolve one from BT1. But now we get the BT10 Kokuamon. It has an inheritable effect that says if you delete a Digimon in battle, you can gain a memory. That's almost entirely irrelevant. It's only in here so that you can evolve this in your raising area and then promote it, and then evolve into Kokua for free, get your search, and then possibly get your Cool Boy draw and memory gain as well. So this is a zero cost to evolve into, which is why we play it. It's also a machine, so it is searchable off of this effect as well. So that's pretty nice. So we play those 8 rookies. We play 2 copies of Terriermon for the Floodgate, and then we play 3 copies of Pamumon from BT9 as another Floodgate. This card says all turns players can't play Digimon by effects. So this will shut down Jessmon. This shuts down Minerva Loop. Terriermon also shuts down Minerva Loop. So if you have either of these cards out, that deck becomes infinitely harder to play. And things of that nature. So these are both good floodgates, and I recommend playing them. So I'm playing 13 rookies in this deck, and I feel like that's a perfectly adequate number. Going into level 4s, I got 4 copies of Weedmon, because this is the best card to have in your stack. We got 4 copies of the blocker Kabuterimon. This card's just generically good, and it's an insectoid, so it's searchable off of the Kokuamon, and things of that nature. And then I do play 1 copy of the Kuwagamon X Antibody. This card is a X Antibody in your level 4, so it's searchable off of Cool Boy. But also it can give you Piercing if you keep this card in your sources on the way up, which is pretty nice. It's niche sometimes, but this card is entirely cuttable. An idea that I am messing around with is cutting this card for Rapidmon. If the format develops the way I think it will, I feel like Rapidmon will be a good pick in the middle section or later sections of the format. Right now, I'm not playing this card. I just wanted to include it in this deck profile as an option to you guys to play. But you could play this Kuwagamon as the 9th level 4, but you could also just get away with playing 8 green level 4s in a list like this. My hybrids are blue level 4, so we'll go into that whenever we get into the Davis. But for now, these are the only level 4s that I have access to in this deck. For the level 5s, we have 4 copies of the Okuomon promo. The mini Ice Wall effect is super, super key this next format. And it does have the inheritable effect of piercing on an insect, which is cool. Most of the time you're digibursting this away. And then you have 4 copies of the Okuomon X Antibody. This card is much better since we get to play Cool Boy in this variant of the deck. because you can use it on your level 3s, you can use it on your level 5s, and you can use it on your level 6s. And typically, if Grandis did play Cool Boy, you could only use it on the level 5 going up into the X antibody, or GrandisKuwagamon going into Grandis. But Okua X antibody is mandatory because you have to get the reduced evolution cost. This card is really good, really pivotal, and this combo is very key. If you don't have the Okuamon promos, you could playtest this deck with just the BT10 Okuamon, but I have tried that, and it is noticeably worse, just so you know. The Okua promo is almost the only expensive card in the deck. You could also play the promo Palmon. I'm just not, because I think the floodgates are more important. And the searchability off the Kokua X antibody is also very key for consistency in this deck. But going into the level 6s, there's going to be no surprise here. We got 4 copies of the GrandisKuwagamon, the promo one that gives you security attack for every time you Digiburst. And then we got 4 copies of Grandis. These are just win cons. You need to play 4 of each because you have to see both of them, and that is how you're going to win the game. But we have a lot of ways to search cards. Grandis is hittable off of the Green Memory Boost, the Kokua X Antibody, as well as the Cool Boy. And GrandisKuwaga is hittable off of Kokua X and the Green Memory Boost. Oh, and I guess also both of these cards are hittable off of Davis as well. So we have a bunch of ways to add them to hand. And most of the time, you will win by Digibursting a bunch of times with this, evolving into this, tapping your Cool Boy so that you can keep it your turn, and then swinging for a bunch of security, and then untapping, and then swinging for a bunch of security. Maybe you pierce over their Digimon because you kept piercing. Maybe you just go for an OTK. But either way, this deck has a lot of just raw power, and it can just kind of blast through your opponent's stacks. And if you die in security to a big option, like in security control or Mastamon or something, it's super easy to just build another one of these in the back with all the consistency pieces you play. So I don't think the hero and a delicate plan package is mandatory. I think if you're just playing the deck correctly and you're kind of playing smart, smart but aggressive, you will succeed with this deck. So for the only non-green Digimon I'm playing in the list, I'm playing 2 copies of Kakumon. This is our hybrid for game. Some people play the Omnimon Merciful mode. Never quite understood that card. I've playtested it. I don't really like it. You could play Death X. It's good in any deck, but in this deck, sometimes it's like you need to hit your combo pieces pretty quickly, and a lot of times you will just bottom deck the Death X. So for that reason, this blue Digimon is the only non-green Digimon I play. And I play 2 of this so that I can evolve off of my Tamers pretty frequently, because I play 3 copies of Davis. Not only is this a memory setter, but it's a searcher. So this is one of the only cards that doesn't really give you a lot, like, diminishing return for playing it multiple times. Like Mimi, yeah, it's good playing one of it. Like hard playing it from your hand for 4 can be a good thing in some situations. But playing the second one, not so much. Davis is one of those cards that can help you find the cards you need, so paying 4 for it isn't really that big of a deal sometimes. When this card comes out of security, it just puts you ahead, and it can become a body out of nowhere since we are playing the Korikakus. So the only other tamer I'm playing in the list is 2 copies of Cool Boy. I've stated a couple times in the video, the fact that we get the new Kokuamon in BT10, it's just a common, makes this card a lot more consistent in the deck because you have another level that you can evolve off of. Plus, it means just evolving into a rookie and then promoting it is like an optimal play because you have access to the Cool Boy and the Kokua X antibody. So I like early game aggression. Anything that encourages me to promote my rookies and reward me for it, I will be inclined to play. So Cool Boy is one of those cards, and it just helps with the overall consistency of the deck. It helps you go for your power plays. Just a great card. I understand why it's like $8 or $9 right now. This card is an absolute flex spot. I'm playing 2 copies of Megadeth. So if you're playing Mimi, you obviously don't have access to this card because you can play this because you're playing the Davis. We do get a new option in Grande Soul, But it's better in Bloomlord and variants of green that have a wider field. Megadeth is just good. Paying 5 memory for this card typically doesn't feel bad, especially if you're evolving a stack in the raising area with a memory boost in play. You know, you can get it up to a level 4 and then pass your turn by Megadething. And then on your next turn, you can promote, evolve into a level 5, and then kind of pop off from there. So paying 5 for this doesn't set you back as much as paying 8. And if you're paying 5 for this, something's already kind of going wrong. I guess in the slot, what you could do is you could take these two out and play 1 copy of Ice Wall and then the 4th copy of Green Memory Boost, which is something I'm heavily considering because I think this is a deck that heavily benefits the more copies of Green Memory Boost you play. 3 was all I had room for because I did want to try Megadeth, at least at the very beginning of the format. But yeah, Green Memory Boost is something that sets you ahead. It helps you push. It helps you get your pieces. And Megadeth is kind of a failsafe for if you're behind. Plus, they both function as great security bombs. These 5 plus the 5 tamers means you have a bunch of cards that your opponent just doesn't want to hit for fear of just giving you advantage. So I think that's about all I have to say about the deck. If you have questions about matchups or any other tech choices that you would want to play in this deck, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, we will see you all next time. Bye, everyone.